Guys, if this is how this is going to be, we're just going to stop right now. Okay, Jeremy's here. All right, there's somebody here. I had somebody, Jeremy, were you in earlier? Hey, what's up, Matthias? So, nothing. So if you guys remember, I did the video. It's been about, about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks ago, I'd say. I said we wanted to see how this edge is going to hold up. And so this has not done very much of anything except opened a couple packages and a couple things. I did cut down one Amazon box, and I'm kind of surprised. I'm trying to see real close here. I don't see any adhesive or anything stuck this blade, so I am going to clean it off before I make my final decision. But there's a chip, again, in the area where the chip was before. 1, 2. Now, like I said, the only thing I did with this was cut down some boxes, like 2 Amazon boxes, and I get a ton of mail. Like, if you own a business, any of you guys that own a business, you know, the second you get an LLC and the second you buy a home, there's not a day that my mailbox is not completely full of junk mail. And so I open it because a lot of it's pretty nondescript. I want to make sure it's not from my doctor. It's not from, you know, the State Board of Taxation that I still haven't paid my LLC franchise tax to yet. They're going to come getting that before too long. I have to pay that. But basically, it's been doing some light duty tasks, nothing heavy. I've been carrying it just to do stuff like that. And there are chips, some little, 1, 2 tiny little ones. But let me wipe it off real good just to make sure. So in case you guys ever wondered how to get adhesive off of a blade, if you've ever gotten some adhesive on a blade. So a little bit of olive oil on a piece of toilet paper or a paper towel or WD-40, and you just wipe it. Baby oil. Baby oil works real good for removing. If you ever peel a label off of something, you know, you got that sticky shit all over it. As long as it's not on a painted surface, you could put some baby oil, a little bit of olive oil, something like that on it, and it should clean it right up. But like I said, this edge was pretty clean. I had already cleaned this off a couple times when I got adhesive on it. Nope, there's a chip. So the only thing this cut was basically envelopes. That cut some envelopes. I think I cut an apple up for my daughter with it in my hand, so it's not like I was smacking it against anything hard, and 1 or 2 smaller Amazon boxes. So I think we've come to a conclusion. You know, I've been being real careful because I wanted to give this an honest test. These chips are small enough I can't see them with my naked eye, but I definitely know they were not there after I sharpened it. When we did that video and I sharpened it and I said I was going to do this. I was going to give it a couple weeks and then just do some, you know, give it a couple weeks of just light testing and see if it chipped. And I said if it didn't, that I would then go back and I would do some heavy testing and see if maybe it was just that it had needed sharpened a couple more times. You guys know that when this has had a heavy reprofile. There's been a lot of material removed off. I don't think it's, a couple people had mentioned it might be, what did they say? Not peel out, not carbide tear out. Now I can't think what they said, but stresses in the metal from having it been factory ground. So there's that, but then there was also some information that I got from somebody else. I kind of looked into it, and it was about companies that are dry grinding steels, Benchmade and things like that, and how they're burning the edges because they're dry grinding. Now I dry grind my knives when I make them after heat treat, but I run at a very, very low speed. That's why it takes me forever to grind a knife. And I'm doing it freehand, so it's not in a machine. so I can tell how much heat is building up in that. And, you know, if it gets hot, you quench it. You don't want to let it get to where it's getting a straw color. So yeah, I think we'll give it another few days of the light treatment, and then I've got a bunch of stuff I want to get cut up. I'm gonna do some get some. I got a couple pieces of wood out there that I want to just do some cutting on wood and see what happens. And I was real careful with this not to like bang it into anything. I didn't hit any staples or anything like that. So any chipping that I'm seeing now is most definitely just chipping in the steel. And like I said, only thing I did was like maybe two Amazon boxes that had no staples. They weren't even heavy Amazon boxes. They were just fairly lightweight Amazon boxes and envelopes, just cutting paper. So that is weird that even just doing such light duty that it, my cat wants in. Hang on a second. She's knocking on the door. Back up. Hey. The dog has figured, or the cat has figured out how to knock on the screen door. She's come up, and if she knows if she gets up and smacks her paws on it, I'll hear it and I'll open it. I've not had it on all of them. I've had a lot of Benchmade knives come in that had chipping. And when you would talk, I would look at it, and I've never owned a Benchmade in S30V, or ever. Matter of fact, it's only the second knife I've ever owned in S30V, and I can't think what the other one was. It may have been, I think it was my old Sebenza, and I never had problems with that. But I've had a lot, and I've had a lot come in with chipping and not just Benchmades. So there is something to the S30V chipping. So, and the weird thing is, it's in the same area. So a lot of people are like, oh, it must be a flaw in the steel or something. But if you think about it, that area, that's the part of it I'm using. That's the body of it. And so those chips it's right there, right dead center in the middle. I would have to look at the picture I took to see where it was located. But I think that the big chip that I could feel last time was a little bit further back. But there's two chips right there. I will try to get it under the microscope and take a look. Because like I said, they are fine enough. I can't even see the light reflecting off of them. So, my buddy Danny, if you're watching, I definitely appreciate. My friend Danny donated $1,000 to my daughter's ice skating GoFundMe. And that helps. You guys have no idea how much that helps. We had to pay $600 in passes this week. So I wanted to wait. She's going to pay she paid $200 and something for passes at the one rink on Saturday. And then she's going to pay the other one today. And that's why I've got to wait. Every time I put money in the account, I got to pay my mortgage. And every time I put money in that account, she spends it. So I'm like, okay, are you done spending that for right now? Because I have to pay the mortgage. And if you take the money out, and that payment doesn't go through. So we just, no, I love the 940. I love the knife. I still love this knife. I wanted one for years. Jason Stone, if you ever see him on the, in the chats, Jason was at Blade Show West, gave me one that had been worn. He had sharpened it way down thin. Not the style sharpening I do that I like. It was sharp, but it had just been thinned down way below what I would want. And then, so we dropped it off at the booth, and they took it and they put a new blade on it for me. And it's the first one I've gotten to own for myself. I still love it. It's still a great knife. It's got a little weirdness. I think it just needs cleaned. The axis lock's not going as far forward as it should, so you still have a little bit of play. But I think that's just because it gets a lot of pocket time and it gets dirty. So I just need to blow it out, clean it out. But the 940 is still a great knife. It really is. I really, really love these. The problem is I just don't like S30V steel. I've had chipping in it from other customers, And now that I have my own, I noticed that I was getting chipping, and I was like, wow, I wonder if maybe I got into something. And so then I sharpened it. For those of you that didn't see the video, I sharpened it to 1,000 degree or to 1,000 grit, and then I stropped it a little bit just to clean up the burr, and I've been carrying it. And so, out of curiosity, when we get done with this round of testing, I want to see how, because this has never been above about 1,100 grit. I want to see how this does with a finer edge and see if we still have those issues with chipping. Because, hear me out on this, the reason I like a polished edge up to about 3,000 to 5,000 grit, where it still has some bite, the way I do it, it's still got bite, there's less rough material on the blade itself for the adhesive wear or the abrasive wear that you would get when cutting. It's a smoother surface and it goes through smoother, so there's a chance that if you're cutting cardboard and things like that, less of a chance of chipping or ripping off or damaging the edge. So when we get done with this at 1,000 grit, I will resharpen it, and I'll take it all the way up to, I'll probably take about 4,000 or 5,000 grit, and then we'll see how that edge holds and see if we get the same issues. I don't think it's an issue that there's still bad steel sitting there. What I think it is I think either the heat treat on this is too hard and not enough temper. You can get into that with certain steels, where you take it to a critical temperature and it's real hard, and then you temper it and it stays too hard. That's why I could definitely get, Elliot and I were talking about, you can definitely get 20 CV and M390 harder than what the heat treat I do on it is, but it stays brittle. And that's why we do that secondary long temper process to give it as much of everything as possible. What I'm wondering is if these are just run too hard and then not tempered to a state that it gets you the best everything. It might just be that it's brittle at that temper. So, just a little more brittle than it needs to be. Because like I said, I've definitely had other knives in S30V that customers sent me that didn't do this. They weren't chipped. They had obviously used them a lot. There was no chipping. And then I've had some others. They don't make it in 20 CV, I don't think. So, it's just a matter of, the stuff I did with this, nowhere near as aggressive as things that I do with this, even though this is a really attractive knife. This knife, do they make it in 20 CV? I know they make S90V. Oh. So, as a point of comparison, this knife gets a lot of use for the same stuff as this. No issues with chipping and things like that. It's M390. I don't know. But like I said, we probably will go back, resharpen this, and then, I'm probably gonna clean up that little chip right there. I'm probably gonna clean that up. I'll see if I can strop it out a little bit. Yeah, that's what Phil was saying. But if I can strop that out, then we'll go back, and then I've got some stuff that I can just cut on when I've got some free time. I got some wood out here that I haven't cleaned up yet. I've got some hard plastic, things like that I could use as test media to see how it holds up against heavier duty things, and we'll see, how much more aggressive the chipping is. But like I said, I'm only going to do it. What I'm going to do is I'll take this back to 1,000 grit or so. Yeah, okay, yeah, I've seen it then. I don't like the ones with the carbon fiber handles all that much. They are guaranteed to be a little off center. Yeah, so what's everybody else want to talk about? What are we talking about today? I'll hang out here for a little bit. I've got to get started here in a little bit. It's 8:30 already. So this is, I start, like I said in the last live feed, I'm gonna start limiting my live feed. Yeah, I know, it was black G10 with a blue line, right? Spyderco's. What do you want to talk about Spyderco's? I can't remember if I've ever had any chipping in Spyderco's. I don't like the Para 3 is okay. It's just the blade is so small compared to the handle. The Para 2 I think I like the Para 2. Aesthetically, it's got more even lines. And blade to handle ratio that I like. Something where it's kind of even. But when you look at the Para 3, the blade is so small and then the handle winds up being so big in comparison that it feels off center. Feels off. It just doesn't feel right. I love the Para 2 though. The Para 2s are a really nice knife. I had one on loan to the channel for a long time. It was just the guy wanted me to see what I would want to change on it. It wasn't for a video. The guy was like, "What would you change on it?" And then, so just before we wrap this up, yeah, I don't like the smock. But before we wrap this up, I just want to let you guys know there is not going to be a live feed tomorrow. I have a doctor's appointment at the Naval Medical Center with my specialist. I have to go in and be seen for my autoimmune. I've got to get a bunch of x-rays done. I've got to get a bunch of blood work done. I am probably going to be there the majority of the day. So there's a good chance that I will not be doing a live feed tomorrow, unless it's really early. They make multiple variations of 940. I just wish they'd put it in a custom size section so you can make your own. Yeah, but the only thing that I would love one of these in S90V. I love S90V. I've never had an issue with it. It sharpens up real good. Nothing much, David. Just talking about that this thing has already chipped. You can go back and watch it. I'm not going to try and get back into it, but light duty cutting, and it started to chip all over again. We were readdressing the edge on this. So, but if I can strop that out, that tells me it's a lot more insignificant than the last chip. I tried stropping out the last chip that was in it, and it didn't work. 1, 2. There's 2 little chips in that. So, but like I said, they're so small, I can't even see them with the naked eye. So I'd have to look at them under the microscope and see if they're close to what I was at last time. So if I do that, I may take some pictures of it, but I'm gonna try and strop it out first. So that would tell me that it's... Guys, we gotta go in the other room, sorry. So somebody told me it could be a couple things that are causing this issue with YouTube. They said if you have issues with that happening, and you guys are gonna have to hang on just a second. I'll be right back. I've got to switch something. Sorry about that. I was trying to switch networks. I have the two separate Wi-Fi networks, a 5G that works really well in this living room, and a 2.4 gigahertz that works great in the kitchen sometimes. But somebody told me it could be a couple of things. It is, but I mean, if you're just carrying it for light duty purposes, it would be great. If you're doing a bunch of cutting, your hands would wear out real quick. So somebody told me it could be my Wi-Fi strength that's causing that, but they said there's another thing. If you get push notifications, like say I'm getting in the background of this, I'm getting emails and texts and things like that. They said that sometimes that will cause the issue where it's not got enough internet to keep you live. I think that's what happened when I was trying to play online games on the channel that one Sunday, and I couldn't connect to the servers for EA, for Battlefront. I don't think I just had enough bandwidth to support both the live feed and online gaming. So, and I did notice that I need to change that to the different network because online play has got a lot of lag. But yeah, well, it's significant enough I can hear it. Can you hear it? There's a significant enough chip you can hear it just as it's touching the material. Not pushing hard enough to cut, but you can hear it catch. So I don't know if you guys could hear that or not. But yeah, there's definitely a little chip in this. So, let's see. Is this still set for live? Okay, it's set for live chat. So, oh, David, since you're here, I did get the coffee. And you don't need to send me any coffee for a long time. I got plenty of coffee. So I appreciate it though. And so soaked your blades, did not see a significant change. I'm gonna do the more caustic version and we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm gonna spot check it. But I was gonna do it Saturday, but forgot that this was Mother's Day weekend. I got a hold of a couple other customers. I was like, hey, I know I said I was gonna toss your blade into tumble and a bunch of other stuff, but I'm not going to the shop today because my wife wanted to do some stuff on Saturday. And she called me Friday night when I was working and was like, hey, don't forget, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. She's like, oh, you forgot it was Mother's Day? I was like, I definitely did. And then yesterday I made her breakfast in bed. I took care of the kid all day. We had lunch together. I made sandwiches for me and the kid. And then I made fettuccine Alfredo from scratch last night for supper so that my wife didn't have to do anything yesterday. I don't think she got out of bed except to eat supper because she ate breakfast in bed. She didn't eat lunch. So I made her scrambled eggs, bacon, toast, coffee, and then when the kid got up, I made the kids breakfast. That was easy. She didn't want anything. Just give me a bowl of cereal. She's not a morning person. She gets up. She's like me. Can't sleep. She's up at the crack of dawn. She doesn't like it. like I may be up early, but I don't enjoy it. I'm not a fucking good morning person. So, well, guys, 8:40, I've got stuff to do. Like I said, I'm basically going to lose a day tomorrow at the hospital for all this testing, x-rays. I believe they want to do an MRI of my right hip. It's the one that has given me some problems lately. That's the one I dislocated when I was younger. And it's really been starting to be painful and bother me. It hurts when I walk and things like that. So I'm going to do some x-rays and probably an MRI tomorrow of my hip and my back. So in case you guys don't know, I think I've said it before. I don't know if you guys know. I have an autoimmune disorder. And what it is my immune system attacks my joints. And so if there was previous injuries and things like that, I'm susceptible to having a lot more problems in that area. And so I have a lot of back problems from it. It attacks the connective tissue between it attacks the discs between the vertebrae, and it makes them hard. And then basically my spine fuses. I've already got like 2 that are fused on one side, but not the other, down in my very lower hip, where my tailbone meets, and stuff like that. So I go in and I have not had x-rays and stuff like I'm supposed to for a very long time. I'm supposed to do them like every 6 months. I think it's been 2 years since he doesn't have a current set of x-rays. So I either have to go in really early tomorrow for that, or I have to go in today, which isn't happening. I've got work to do. So that's going to be the end of it. I love you guys. If you want to donate to the Daughters GoFundMe, it'll be in the caption, the description below, as always. There's been a few people that did. I want to get it called out, and I've gotten a couple people that did Patreon. So without any further ado, if you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them the thumbs down. But tell me why. Here's going to be a video that YouTube thinks you like. Here's a video I think you like. Here's a subscription link. And right there, there's a Patreon if you so choose to do something like that. So, guys, with no further ado, I've got to get out of here. I will see you all later. There might be a video up later today. I don't know. I have